Last one. Kat says, I had a couple of suspensions last week for making legitimate changes. No black or gray hat methods. Appeals take weeks. GBP services is a hard sell, knowing Google has keys to your operation and can close your business anytime they wish to. Thoughts? Yeah, I totally agree. So here's the thing. We are at Google's mercy at all times. Local businesses are, because Google is still, 80% search share or whatever, 80% market share of search, something like that. It's close to that. So, that's a lot. And so we're at Google's mercy. Google holds the keys to the kingdom, that's for sure. They can shut people down at any given time for no fucking reason whatsoever. That's why I don't teach anymore going out and doing lead gen with GBPs, because I think it's a business model that has its shelf life is about expired by now. Like, in other words, I don't tell any of our members anymore to go out and secure GBPs or to claim GBPs or recategorize unclaimed GBPs, claim them and then recategorize them, or to go buy GBPs from vendors that can create and somehow secure verified GBPs. I don't recommend that anymore to anybody, period, full stop. I don't do it in my own business because of what you just stated, Kat. You can be making legitimate changes and get suspended. And then as long as it's a real valid business location, 90% of the time you'll be able to get it reinstated. As long as it's a real valid business location tied to a real valid business, then you can get it restated. But trying to work on spam GBPs or GBPs that were, reclaimed and recategorized and things like that, those, first of all, they don't perform nearly as well as a real valid verified business, especially, by the way, once a business goes through a re-verification process or reinstatement process, it tends to perform better because it's gone through the additional verifications process. So that tends to perform better. It's like it's put into a different bucket that is now trusted a lot more by Google. So the point that I'm trying to make is when working on GBPs that have been spammed or reclaimed or verified, they're not tied to real valid business locations, et cetera, Google at any time that you're making, for no reason at all, they can suspend them. But then also just going in making minor changes can cause re-verification, and then you won't be able to re-verify them because you don't have way to verify them with video verification and everything else. So that's why I don't teach it anymore, guys. I don't do it. I mean, I've got a couple of GBPs that I bought a few months ago just for shits and giggles, for testing purposes. And none of those perform as well because they were reclaimed and recategorized GBPs. And so I've learned over the last year and a half now, maybe, to stop even attempting that shit, which is why I developed the directory hybrid model, which is to build organically gen assets and, and possibly using ads too, but organic lead gen assets that then once ranked, then you use that as a selling tool to help you sell your services to real businesses in that area that have real valid business locations so that you can provide GBP SEO services to them as a client under traditional retainer model. Because that, and then if you need to make changes or whatever, but you got to be clear with your client up front. Like, hey, listen, we have to make some on-page optimization changes to the GBP, to your Google business profile. There is a chance that it is going to trigger re-verification or suspension. That is a known thing that happens. So it's, I need your okay, Mr. or Ms. Client, for us to make these changes. You have to be aware that there is a possibility that it will be a trigger re-verification or suspension. And then there will be a period of days or a couple of weeks or whatever before we can get it reinstated. Are you okay with that? Are you aware of these risks? Do I have your permission to make these changes? Get all that. Do it on a Zoom meeting with the video being recorded or something, right? Or email back and forth where you get written permission for them to do that. That way, when you go make those changes and it does trigger re-verification or suspension, they can't come back on you and blame you for this or that, or that I was unaware and all of that. You got to be very clear about that up front with clients, which I am. I tell them, like, look, like, here's an example. With tree service businesses, a lot of tree contractors don't publish their street address because Google's acceptable use policy or terms of service, or whatever, their guidelines, search guidelines, say that service area businesses should not publish their street address. Unless customers come to the business location, they should not publish their street address. That's what it states. But we all know, or we all should know, that if a service area business publishes their street address, they will perform better in Google search. So I tell my clients now, like, you should publish your street address. But before we do it, be aware that if we publish your street address, it is likely going to cause re-verification. It's going to trigger re-verification and potentially a suspension as well. Are you okay with that? Can we verify it? Is your business tied to, are you still at that location? Do you get company documents there, like, utility bills, phone bills, etc., that come to that physical address that is addressed to your company name? As long as we have these verifying documents, be aware, and I get the permission that they are aware of the risks, then, and they say it's okay, then we will make the change. And sometimes it triggers re-verification or suspension, and we got to go through that process. But we've gotten permission ahead of time. So anyway, to get back to what you're saying, what are my thoughts? My thoughts are, it's a necessary evil to have a Google business profile if it's a real business, right? I mean, it's like, if they want to generate leads from Google, they're going to get most of their leads from Google business profile, as long as it's ranking, right? And so if they want to potentially generate leads from Google, then you have to do what you got to do in order to optimize their profile to where it will, rank and provide them the exposure that they desire. So you got to just be clear with them up front, like that, here's what needs to be done. There's a chance that this could happen. Do I have your permission to do this? Once they say yes, and you get that, recorded or in writing or whatever, then you can make the change. And if it happens, it happens. So be it. That's just the nature of our business right now, guys. So my thoughts are, stop trying, not that you were trying to, Kat, but for those of you that are trying to build your business on spam GBPs, I don't recommend it anymore. God bless all of you that are trying to. It's very difficult to maintain, and it's a very shaky business model right now. I think the directory hybrid agency model is a more superior method because, again, it's things that we have control are a lot less likely to get punished by Google, that then we use as a marketing and sales tool to help us land clients that have real valid business locations, so that we can make those changes and re-verify or reinstate if needed. Right? It's a way to kind of combine the two that saves us from, building a business on sand instead of bedrock, if that's clear. Okay. It's a good question.